Professor Wang, this is the Global Digest. You see,
Yes, yes,
we are think tank group and we are discussing global issue, crisis, and political economy issue, and
yes,
all other issue with various professors from around the world, from
yes,
America, Europe, and Korea, and Malaysia, India. And I have very difficult to communicate with Chinese scholar. So mainly I'm talking recent uh, issue and especially Burmese issue. Burmese military coup from last year. You know, many international scholar doesn't agree with the military coup and the human rights violation and it's a kind of a authoritarian thing. So that's international people scholar view, and many Burmese uh, clearly show they want democracy system because Burmese people, you can see, even many Chinese media, they may show that they protest and, are fighting with the regime, military regime around across the country. That is evidence, we are talking about fact. If you are a scholar, we are not just uh, without evidence, we are not talking because that is evident. Burmese people showing they want democracy. They don't want military by force, by power ruling the country. That is the reality. Is the case in Burma. I'm not uh, able to hear the opinion of China. I mean, Chinese government may be support with existing military government, I guess, but I'm not sure, definitely. And I'm not clear idea with Chinese government. In spite of Chinese government position, I'm not clear about their policy, and they did not much make statement. The government did not make statement, so we cannot say exactly what is that or what is the government of China want. We don't see so far. That is one thing, and the other thing is ordinary Chinese people view on Burmese crisis. Why, how the ordinary Chinese people feel about that? They want to help Burmese uh, who are in crisis, who are, many are oppressed by the military government. They were jailed and they were killed. Their houses and village were burned with fire. So this was the thing. I am absolutely no idea about inside China opinion because outside international world don't know much about Chinese position. We want to know uh, true clear position of China, and then we can able to analyze, whether good or bad or whatever. We can do analysis with the true information, correct correct information and the fact we need to know. So you are from inside China, you know about Chinese government position very well, and you know about Chinese public opinion very well. So please feel free to share
okay,
detail about
yeah.
Chinese public opinion and Chinese government opinion, and introduce us where you are working and which university you are working so our audience can know you. Please, Professor Wang.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm not, although I have been involved in international relations, the foreign policy for 20 years, okay, as a professor.
I
If
see.
you regarded my study as a PhD, that means almost 30 years. Okay, so I have no any background in ASEAN, and Myanmar. From the very beginning, my academic interest in Europe, America, transatlantic, Cold War, America and Europe, America and the Soviet Union, and America and Russia. So I call it the major powers politics. I'm not good. I'm not good in Middle East, in Asia, in Africa, or so-called developing country. So I cannot say I'm expert on Myanmar. No, I'm not that. However, as I'm a political scientist and professor of IR, I know China very well from very beginning because I belong to the older generation. That means I was born and grew up during the Cultural Revolution, Mao's period. Then I studied for my undergraduate and postgraduate during the Deng Xiaoping period. Then I went to America, Britain, Europe for my PhD and advanced studies in 3 fields, but they are very related. Okay, international history, diplomacy, and IR, international law.
Yes.
So I can answer your question indirectly. I cannot answer your question directly from a very professional point of view. Okay. For regarding the first let me talk about the Chinese government position and policy to Myanmar. Myanmar is our neighbor. According to realism theory, geography is one of the key element consideration for any country foreign policy. China can ignore Cuba, Mexico, Argentina, even Brazil, but China cannot ignore Myanmar, India, Indonesia, our neighbors, particularly Japan, India, and Vietnam, and Korea. But Myanmar is very important to China because first, Myanmar is one of the countries recognized People's Republic of China communist regime, so-called in 1949 or in 1950. That is one of the first country.
Right.
Second, our two countries share many cultures, although not a religion, because in the ancient times we have connections. Okay, so China, officially speaking, China and the Myanmar relations have been pretty good, quite stable. No, we have disputes maybe, but we have no war like China and Japan, China and Soviet Union. No war. We have we have a good. We call the Baobo relations. That means we are very close, like family. Okay, so but China followed the non-intervention policy. Non-intervention in domestic politics. That means no matter the country carry on so-called democratic or dictator or military regime, China cannot change that. We cannot say, no, you need to change. China can never do that. Okay, so this is the Chinese, one of the position. We never interfere into other countries' business. Of course, but if Myanmar adopted pro-America and try to accept American military in your territory, no matter is it democratic or not democratic, China will be very sensitive. So let me say that China policy to our neighbors focus on security, geopolitics, not for the human rights. Is it good or not? And if you talk about the liberalism, of course, China is not good because we don't take care about the human rights. However, China has now that intention or history to interfere into other countries. So, but as a realism, I believe Chinese government need stabilized as long as we can maintain our neighbor stable, no fighting, no civil war, no pro-American Japanese regimes, China will close to you. And if you welcome Chinese economic investment, that's perfect. But as we need to recognize each other, we call the core interests, security. Security is the most important. So now the regimes in your country is definitely is not democratic in the Western term, but the government is not anti-China. Is not anti-China, and also the government is not very close to Western countries to encourage foreign troops, military, stay in your country, like Japan, South Korea. No doubt, South Korea, Japan, they are more so-called democratic. I don't like that term, okay? But they accept American military. So American military stay in South Korea, Japan, America regarded China as a competitor and a rival and enemy. So in this case, how can China do? So we have to support North Korea. To be honest, the Chinese people, particularly the business circle, they are more pro South Korea. South Korea is population is bigger, economic is stronger, technology is much better, but South Korea is very pro-America.
You are telling about you don't like pro American by any neighbor country. That's Chinese worry about security. The thing is, you know, those small countries, they need survival. They may interest or not interest, they are doing to gain their economic profit and other profit for their survival, for their well-being, and for their development. Because China cannot do everything for any neighbor country as they wanted, as they needed. So they may doing exercise for their own survival. It's not necessarily always threatening to China or making against China. As long as there is no war and no fighting or no conflict between China and neighboring country, why China let them neighbor country go ahead with whatever you call pro America or whatever they are doing alliance with other group for their surviving. So how do you think that is for their surviving, you know?
Yes. No, I understand that every country has their own security concern, no doubt. Okay.
So,
but from geopolitical perspective, China definitely hope our neighbors maintain neutral. For example, China doesn't oppose any country to be wealthy. Singapore is very pro-America, but economically is very, very active in doing business with China. And South Korea is also very pro-America, American ally, and doing a business with China, also at the same time. But China was not happy, for example, South Korea, right, permit America to put the very advanced THAAD. Maybe you heard that THAAD, THAAD equipment to detect China's missile and military. Japan allowed America to stay very heavy, very well trained armed military and also Japan want to share the nuclear weapon with America. So that is not, of course, China is very sensitive.
Right.
So regarding, let me focus on Myanmar. To be honest, I don't think there are many Chinese scholars who work on Myanmar or Vietnam or Cambodia. As I told you that China is a developing country. China is not like Europe, it's not like America. And even China economically is not as rich as Japan. So if my major is on Cambodia, Myanmar, Nepal, Bangladesh, I cannot find a job. So most Chinese scholars focus on America, Europe, Japan, rich country, big country, Turkey, Israel, because China need to know about these countries. To be honest, China, if you come to China, I don't think you can find some very good scholars on India. India is so important to China. Okay, I don't think there are many good, very qualified scholars on India. Okay, there are many Chinese who focus on careers. Why? One of the reasons is that Korea culturally is very close to China. Second, they provided a very good scholarship for Chinese scholars to study there. They also send students to China. So Chinese people, I'm not saying Chinese people are stupid. No, I'm not saying that. I think Chinese people are very pragmatic. Okay, if a Chinese study abroad, mostly in my generation, we have to depend on the scholarship. Who can provide the scholarship? America, Europe, Japan, South Korea. But now
Chinese government doesn't have scholarship. Chinese government provide many scholarship as well, isn't there?
Yeah, just the recent 10 or 20 years.
I see.
Yes.
So by the way, Professor, you are saying about security issue. In Korea, Japan, security, when you talk about security issue, it's always overlapping security interests, you know. South Korea, Japan will claim because North Korea is shooting rocket all the time. So they have to prevent and they have to prepare any, you know, rocket fall into their country. That is the reason they may buy high-tech to civilian any rocket, but in the other side, it is threatened to China security because the civilian can reach China, something like that. So it is overlapping each other. Who you want to blame, or you want to blame Japanese or Korean feed, or Japanese and Korea will blame North Korea feed, you know? That is overlapping, blaming each other. That is complicated, I guess.
No, because to be honest, Japan can be a very, very strong military power just overnight. Japan, you cannot ignore, you cannot look down Japan. Japan is not only economic power. Japan is a high technology power. Now, as a military power, they based on two things. One is technology, another is economics. Japan has both. So Japan now cannot be a military power for two reasons. First, constitutionally, Japan has not changed very much about the peaceful constitution, but they will change that by the end of this year. Second, just a few years ago, America didn't support Japan to be a military power. However, now with the so-called rise of China, America supported Japan to be a military power. Japan is themselves, Japan's leadership, they want to be a very strong military power. Please trust me, in 5 years, Japan will be the strongest military power in Asia, no doubt. But Japan's only nuclear weapon, Japan will have a very strong nuclear weapon in 5 years. But Japan is small. You cannot change the territory. So in this case, if Japan wants to develop a nuclear weapon, that is just like commit suicide. China is not as very advanced as Japan in terms of technology, but China is huge. Okay, so in our military term,
yes, because of China's side, even though Japan able to develop military, but it may not even reach of China capacity, still in terms of size, Chinese is outrunning in terms of size, the military side, in terms of Navy ship, China Navy number is outrunning. So if all these small countries, if they claim China is developing so many ship and so many, attack ship, outnumber to tell of all countries in Asia is equal to China's possession. So if they say we are threatened by those numbers, so they are blaming each other. China saying Japanese capacity, but still in terms of statistic, they are much lower than China. So that is a statistic.
No, please. Japan is an ally of America. Japan is a half ally of NATO. Will be the member of NATO, associate NATO. So, who is China ally? China foreign policy is an independent foreign policy, no ally. In terms of
Russia is China's ally. Russia.
No. We call the strategic partner. So this is why China didn't provide anything to Russia during the Ukraine war.
I see. But by the way, compared to other countries, China and Russia is very active cooperation in terms of exchange.
Yes, because America too strong. Yes.
Military exercise.
Just because America and NATO are too powerful.
Yeah. So it seems, even though officially not aligned, but indirectly some kind of alliance between China and Russia.
Yes.
It's happening.
And North Korea. And but because America has a NATO, America has Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Australia. Who is China ally? Russia, North Korea. That's all. Pakistan is very unstable.
I saw last time Pakistan said Pakistan and China relationship are very close friend. The most close friend.
But
it's
very poor.
China consider Pakistan is very reliable alliance or not really?
No, yes, but it's very poor country.
But they also nuclear power country, You have
but
nuclear power country.
Yes, you cannot. The people cannot eat nuclear bomb. People have to eat butter and bread. Okay. So no.
I see. So, in terms of Burmese Myanmar China relationship, we have a very good relationship, as you point out at the beginning of
Carmen,
Chinese independence, 1949, and
yes,
around
yes,
1950, the Burmese at the time Burmese government, the first time they bring China into United Nations,
yes,
nobody bring. And I've been talking with other Chinese uh, overseas Chinese activists. At the time, Burmese Prime Minister UNU and
yes,
Chinese Premier Zhao Enlai was very close
yes,
relationship. They are
yes,
the two diplomats. They made a lot of diplomatic relationship, and
yes,
Burmese government recognized, even though Burmese government is democratic government at the time, but they still uh, uh, bring along with them the Chinese Communist government, because
mm,
before was nationalist was democratic government in China. Later politics was changed to communist, so communist government. So Burmese still uh, accept communist government as neighboring country, and close diplomatic relationship with. If nobody want at the time China to make a friend, because all are against China at the time. China has no any relationship at the time. Mao Zedong policy was very strict. They don't want to meet with anybody, any country at the
no, no,
time.
no,
No,
no, my friend. Okay, John, no,
at the beginning, Mao doesn't allow. Even Zhao Enlai introduced Burmese were willing to make diplomat, but Mao denied. We cannot
no, no,
meet
no.
anybody
That's not true. No,
before we make
no,
order in the house. So he did not want, but Zhao Enlai is the main key person. He is architect of China's diplomat to make relationship with outside world. Through Zhao
no.
Enlai open.
Okay, when the pandemic is over, I would like to invite you to come to China. We can have a talk face to face. Okay.
Okay.
Let me put it from the very beginning. From the very beginning, October 1st, 1949, China welcomed any country to recognize Beijing government, because if they don't recognize Beijing, they will recognize Taiwan. So at that time, for the diplomatic concern, China welcomed every country, hope every country, pray, appeal to every country to recognize China. As long as you recognize China, Beijing, that means you will not recognize Kuomintang on Taiwan. But
Right.
who is the boss in the West? America. After Korean War, America refused to recognize China PRC until 1972. However, China still tried to get a recognition from East Europe, Soviet Union, Mongolia, neighbors, Asian and African countries. Quite successful. However, I agree with you that sometimes China's policy try to support the communist group in other countries. The other countries, they don't like China to be interfere into their country's business. For example, China wants to support communist country in Thailand, in other countries, in Malaysia. So the government, of course, they don't like that. So that is a very controversial thing. However, in 1950s, 60s, China received 45 countries who recognize China, most of them from East Europe and Asian, African countries. That is true. After 1970s, most countries, including Japan, the so-called Western country, recognize China. Because America is the leader of the Western world. No one can deny that. America is the only one country in the world is a global power. No other country can be called global power. China is the only power in East Europe, in East Asia.
1950, 1960, you know, Soviet Union is much stronger in terms of military power and nuclear power, you know.
No,
politically.
not impossible. No, John, please don't say that. That is not perfect. Okay. America is a superpower in all terms: military, economics, culture, technology, social, academic. Soviet Union is a superpower, only military. So that's why Soviet Union soft power is not so good. Okay, trust me. I'm, to be honest, okay, in China, okay, I shouldn't say this, but that is the truth. In my generation, over 55, I'm the only one Chinese study in ABCD.
I see.
America, Britain, China, and Holland, Dutch. I'm the only one person. So, in terms of geopolitics, in terms of IR, realism, I don't accept any Chinese Asian scholars equal to me. No, I don't accept. Okay.
But
I'm sorry.
okay,
I'm sorry,
anyway, Professor Wang. But there are many facts, you know, there are many evidence. During 1950, 1960, Soviet power is very strong. It's, you know,
military, only military and space. Only military. Economic was very poor.
Yes, economically, Soviet is weaker and weaker. That's why it become collapse, you know. Soviet Union was collapsed. But at the beginning, very strong. So even Burmese politicians, they are confused. They should better go with Soviet system, something like that. That's why they developed socialist, you know, socialist Burmese way of socialism in Burma. But that is actually failed system in Burma because they want to follow Soviet Union system. Soviet was very strong. Everybody know at the time. So then,
okay.
However, Burmese failed to do Soviet system, and Soviet also collapsed later on. So that is at the time. But I see you don't want to recognize the role of Zhou Enlai at the time. I'm not sure, but according to
he's my hero. I will send you my paper. I will send you my paper just 1 year ago on the Hegel on the very top journal in Europe, Zhou Enlai's legacy. Okay, but anyway, so I just want to say that Burma, Myanmar is a neighbor of China. We hope, not we. I'm not in the power. I'm only a pure academic. Chinese government hope Myanmar is really independent. No any foreign country can send the troops stay in Burma, in Myanmar. Oh, but at the same time, China hopes Myanmar economic will be getting better. Because if your country economic is stronger, we have more of cooperation. Your country is rich in natural resources. Your country is pretty big compared to many other countries. definitely China hope your country politically stable, economically is prosperous. Regarding the social ideology, human rights, I don't think China want to say too much. I don't think so.
I
Okay.
see. But anyway, according to my finding, I accept the role of Zhao Enlai is very important at the beginning of
Yes.
China. Zhao Enlai is
Yes. He's the
architect
architect.
of Chinese, Burmese prime minister. They are always together in regional activity. There was a so-called non-alliance movement. That time, Burmese people, Burmese leader invited China, but not Russian or American or something like that. If uh, if they don't want to invite China, they should be excluded. It's possible. But why Burmese invited China? There was the relationship between Zhao Enlai and UNO. So China
Yes.
was invited to non-aligned movement and
Yes.
Burmese.
Bandung Conference. Bandung Conference.
Yes, Bandung Conference was the official meeting and
Yes.
introduced a lot of diplomat and many country leader and Zhao Enlai can make a lot of friends and he can make diplomatic relationship with many countries from that time. So China become more and more worldwide diplomatic relationships.
Yes.
Enlai was
Okay.
very clever. Zhao Enlai was very
Yes.
clever.
Yes.
Zhao Enlai is
John,
a good
may I ask a
architect.
question? John, may I ask a question? Who is the number one boss in 1950s and 60s? Mao or Zhou?
Mao is the leader,
Yes.
but
Yes.
Mao is the leader, but
Without Mao position, how could Zhou Enlai to cultivate friendly relations with other countries?
Mao was not the first to initiate diplomatic or he is not actually diplomatically he is not architect. He is powerful leader, but he is not architect of diplomatic. The diplomatic architect is Zhao Enlai. Enlai even convinced Mao to have a diplomatic relationship with many countries, even with Burmese, because Mao at the time was very strict. He doesn't want to invite any country, any relationship with. He said, we cannot invite any guests without order in our home. So he priority to make order, control inside China. That is Mao purpose, Mao main issue. That is my analysis. So
No,
Zhao Enlai,
that is not true.
Anyway, I have a reason to say Zhao Enlai convinced Mao. Mao also accepted, later on. But initially, the architect is Zhao Enlai. I have to say clearly because one day, Burmese leader visited to China and they met with Mao and Zhao Enlai, all these Chinese leader, and because of at the beginning unsmooth relationship because of those managing or administration issue. One day Zhao Enlai bring all the Chinese leader, defense minister and foreign minister, all this cabinet he bring to Burma, except Mao. Mao only stay in China. All these leader, maybe hundreds of people, I guess, he bring to Burma and he met with Burmese leader. He want to show the government want to make relationship with Burma. We like relationship with Burma, but
Okay.
Mao was not included. Which means,
No.
Zhao Enlai has to.
Mao is the party chief. Okay, Mao is the party boss. Zhou Enlai is the prime minister. They are different. They are the two persons to play the different jobs. Okay, just like you are professor, I'm a policeman. I cannot teach. Okay, but you have to teach. You are professor, but you cannot go to the street to stop the car, to stop the traffic. You are not a policeman. So they play the different role. However, John, first, I really appreciate you like Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai. He's my hero. Okay, although he's not number one, but number one is Henry Kissinger. Second is Bismarck. Okay, now Zhou Enlai is Premier Zhou is a third hero, and I'll be happy to talk to you on the real politics, foreign policy, because I'm not good at human rights. Although I believe human rights is an important issue, China must work hard to improve the human rights. But I really oppose any party, any government, any country to jeopardize economic development in the name of human rights. That is my position.
Right.
I don't trust America and the Western countries.
Just let me conclude with the Zhao Enlai case.
Okay.
I mean, when Zhao Enlai bring all these cabinet members, defense minister, foreign minister, everybody to Burma except Mao. Mao was left in China. Everybody come to Burma to make diplomatic relationships. So we see China want to make diplomatic relationship with Burma. We know that is not individual issue. We cannot do relationship not by Mao alone. So Zhao Enlai showed that China want to make the relationship with Burma. So he bring all these cabinet member to Burma except Mao. So it's not individual. It's not individual. It is China, the whole country.
National. Yes.
That we see.
I agree.
We see that. So I'm appreciate that Zhao Enlai was very good, but not like Zhao Enlai. Many Chinese leaders understand. Zhao Enlai understand very well about Burmese and diplomatic relationship. So he made a good international relationship, and he opened. Actually, China was open, initiated by Zhao Enlai. That is the basic foundation or the seed of Chinese open outside world. I can say that about Zhao Enlai.
Okay.
Burmese people role. I mean, what China people can do and what China's population opinion. How about people to people? In terms of nowadays, Burmese people are in crisis. They are struggling for, fighting with military regime. How do you think the Chinese people opinion on Burma at the moment?
Okay. Let me put this way. In terms of academic circle, definitely I believe the people in the south, Yunnan, Guangxi, the Chinese territory close to your country, will definitely know more about Myanmar than the people in the north. If you ask the people, even the scholars in the northeast, in the north, I don't think they know much about your country. I don't believe that. Second, they support Myanmar people to get more human rights, but I think in their mind, the human rights in the developing country is the most important, is to get a job, to get education, to get a decent life, not to vote. That is the Chinese people understanding. So if you say, if you talk to the Chinese poor people in the countryside, do you need a vote? Do you need a job or salary and house? They answer, I need a job. I need the money. People are very pragmatic. That is true. You cannot deny that. China's population.
You know that Chinese people should know the military regime in Burma, they cannot make economic growth and, prosperity of the Burmese population. They are only oppressing and they make poor and poorer. So that is the thing in Burma. There is the case. You can see case. During democratic government, we have more development. We
corruption, yes,
and we have more living standard is higher, But in the military regime, we have lower living standard and poorer.
Yes.
So why Chinese people, I suggest, should not support military if you want to let the Burmese people economic growth and better living standard. If you support military, we will be going down, poorer and poorer. That is one thing. And the other, you said you make precondition if any neighbor country, small country, alliance or pro-America, China will be disliked. China will not agree any pro-America or whatever you said. But in case of if Burmese people need to their own economic growth and development, prosperity for better living standard, if we can achieve through pro-America or cooperation with Western country, European America, we may have to do that. It doesn't mean we are against China, but for our own survival, we have to do that. That is my point of view.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you, and I hope Chinese government will be realize your point. But now, I don't think China has the capability to persuade your leaders to change the policy. I don't think China has that kind of influence. I don't think so.
Well, when last year, when Chinese foreign minister visited, why he met army chief, his duty is just to go and meeting with the foreign minister or the president, civilian government. Why he met with the army chief? It is not foreign minister job. That can be understand by the military or mistranslated by military. So they make credit to coup or to take power, such kind of thing. I think Chinese foreign minister visit to Burma and meeting with military army chief was mistake, I guess.
Okay. I will take your point. I will write an article for the CGTN, but I cannot say I can influence Chinese government. But I will write an article to say that the Chinese government need to play a constructive and policy to be welcomed by the local people, just not only the government.
Right. And
I
also,
can read that.
also I can prove you, I can recommend you during Burmese democratic government, that is much better for China as well. Because example, during UNU government at the beginning of 1950, we have a democratic government and our living standard is very high in Asia. Many Asian people came to study in Burma at the time. You know, at the time, Zhao Enlai and UNU was a good relationship. During we are democratic government, China was gain a lot of diplomatic relationship with
Yes.
outside world. You did not gain anything from during Burmese military government. You lost more friends, I guess.
I
So
agree with you.
it is better for China too if we are democratic government. It's
Okay.
you can get, you don't have to make a lot of burden. We have uh, during democratic government we are better living standard and better economic growth. So China did not give a lot of donation or loan to Burmese if we are already grow economy, you know. But you during military government, you have to borrow a lot of money and a lot of loan. That is not at all guarantee they will pay back. We civilian, we Burmese people, no guarantee for Chinese money. That is only responsible between Chinese government and military
Yes.
regime. You have to aware
Yes.
that we are not responsible for that.
Okay. John, would you like we can write some article